Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
Taking a look at what's happening out here. Not a lot of rain across our area. Some of that lifting northward. I'll let you know what our chances are through the rest of the day and what you'll expect as you're heading home.
Plea expected today. 3 years after Wake County deputy was gunned down in Raleigh, the case could come to an end this afternoon.
Social media scrutiny. Durham Police Chief Patrice Andrews faces backlash over a now deleted post about Charlie Kirk. We'll hear from city leaders.
Parts of our area are seeing a cloudy, breezy afternoon with a chance for showers. You're looking at a live view of downtown Raleigh right now, courtesy of the WRAL camera network. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Renee Chu.
And I'm Chris Levingood. Thank you so much for joining us. Seeing a lot more cloud coverage there in the sky than we did earlier. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner is in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with a look at who could see more rain.
We'll take a look at Dual Doppler 5000 radar. Things are pretty quiet. We continue to see our best chance of rain up in our northeastern counties, not necessarily in our viewing area, but there are a few sprinkles that have popped up in a few places. One of those just north of Durham, a little bit of that there in Wilson County and down into Sampson County. We'll zoom in here. I mean, we're talking about just a tiny little batch of showers, and that's the same down in Clinton. That's all we've seen for the last several hours. It's possible that we could see something a little bit more widespread, but a lot of this is just shifting northward. We saw this band of really heavy rain with a lot of lightning sitting just here off the coast of, say, almost Cape Hatteras, and that was blocking a lot of the moisture from streaming inland. Now that's moved northward, and all that moisture has moved along with it, and we just don't have a lot wrapping around that system at this point. Here's a look at satellite. We do have a lot of cloud cover from Raleigh eastward, some holes in the clouds just east of Raleigh over toward Goldsboro, but for the most part, we're pretty socked in with clouds, except in our western counties. Futurecast does show a little bit more rain by 5 o'clock, making it down the I-95 corridor, but not really all the way into the triangle. It looks like we're going to be fairly dry for the rest of the day. We've got a 30% chance, mainly for the I-95 corridor.
Investigators say the teenage gunman who shot 2 students at his Colorado high school shared disturbing patterns with other alleged mass shooters. NBC's Dana Griffin reports the 16-year-old hinted at his plan online.
Disturbing new details about the Evergreen High School shooter in Colorado. 16-year-old Desmond Hawley was active on a violent gore website tied to 2 other recent school shooters who in the past year have used the site before carrying out attacks, according to a report by the Anti-Defamation League. The organization also reporting the teen may have had plans to live stream the attack.
He had been on our radar since at least July.
The ADL says they didn't know his name, but had social media posts that raised red flags this summer. Those posts were shared with law enforcement, according to the ADL.
This particular website is filled with the types of content that glorifies previous mass shooters, whether they're school shooters or extremist shooters. It provides an opportunity for users to signal back and interact with one another.
The FBI telling NBC News they opened an assessment in July into the social media account but could not identify its user. Therefore, there was no probable cause for an arrest or additional law enforcement action. The morning of the shooting, the ADL says Hawley posted this photo of a revolver on X, the same type of gun officials say he used to shoot 2 students last week before killing himself.
Right now, children are killing other children, and they have these websites that are the common thread.
The ADL says online, Hawley also expressed neo-Nazi views. A law enforcement source telling NBC News they found anti-Semitic items inside his home. As for the victims, both remain hospitalized as the entire community tries to heal. Dana Griffin, NBC News.
And according to the Anti-Defamation League, Desmond Hawley posted a now-deleted TikTok video in which he modeled a tactical helmet and a gas mask. He used background music from a Serbian folk song that the 2019 Christchurch mosque shooter played while live streaming the New Zealand massacre.
2 Florida minors reportedly confessed to causing more than $50,000 in damage at a school, and they're accused of breaking into an elementary school building to do this. Investigators in Volusia County, Florida, say these images show the 12 and 13-year-olds responsible for that damage, and their mothers turned them in after their pictures appeared on TV. Well, deputies say the boys confessed to breaking in during the day and then returning later in the evening to look at the damage and cause even more. The boys were charged with burglary, trespassing, and criminal mischief.
Happening now here in the WRAL Live Center, President Trump has added the New York Times to the list of media companies that he's now challenging here in court with a $15 billion defamation lawsuit. This comes as he posted on Truth Social today, stating, "Today I have the great honor of bringing a $15 billion defamation and libel lawsuit against the New York Times, one of the worst and most degenerate newspapers in the history of our country." Now, all of this comes as he's now targeting 4 of its journalists in a book and 3 articles published within a 2-month period before the last election. This lawsuit was filed in U.S. District Court in Florida there, and the Times called this lawsuit meritless. Of course, we'll continue to follow the reaction coming from this latest update.
Laura, thank you. It's not every day a 71-year-old appears in a show at Fashion Week in New York, but blazing trails isn't exactly new for Ruby Bridges. She was part of the Actively Black show to honor those who fought for equality. Bridges became the first black child to integrate an all-white elementary school in New Orleans in 1960. The daughters of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X walked the runway individually before returning together, sharing an embrace that symbolized 2 of the most powerful legacies in black history.
A powerful moment to see that. A new high-end baby stroller is ready to hit the market. Aston Martin collaborated with child car seat brand Egg to create the Egg 3. Yes, very expensive looking. It's modeled to resemble the elegant seat of an Aston Martin car. The stroller includes a sunproof canopy as well as adjustable headrest and seating positions. Is it diamond encrusted? We don't know. It costs too much. The Egg 3 fits infants up to 55 pounds, and the starting price, $3,000. If you thought Duna was expensive, well, Aston Martin's got a one-up for you there. All right, let's switch over to our weather forecast with meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. And you're tracking the tropics this afternoon. We're seeing some activity out there.
Yeah, earlier this morning, we had this system right here go to a 90% chance in the next 2 days and a 90% chance in the next 7 days. So this one's getting more organized. Definitely the National Hurricane Center and we here at WRAL have a close eye on this one. It's possible, I thought maybe at 11 o'clock during the advisory, it would come out as at least a depression or potentially a tropical storm. But sometime in the next 24 hours, it's likely. We have another system coming off the coast of Africa as well. That's a new one. That one has a 20% chance. And then, of course, the one out ahead of it, a 90% chance. Where is that one potentially going? Here's a look at our models. These are our hurricane-specific models, so they're designed specifically to analyze hurricanes, making that nice northerly turn, hopefully away from Bermuda. At this point, it doesn't look like it would be any impact to the United States. This is a look at another one of our models. Just taking a look at the upper-level winds, and the upper-level winds are what move these storms around, and you can see some strong upper-level winds here, passing very close to Bermuda and then swinging out into the North Atlantic. And so hopefully there are going to be a few fronts that actually do that, and hopefully that's not just a fantasy of the model. So we'll watch it very closely. This low-pressure system continues to bring most of its rain well off the coast and on the coast there in northeastern North Carolina, and we just don't see much here. A couple of little sprinkles there in the northern part of Durham County, over in Wilson County and Sampson County, but it's not very much. You'll see that little tiny shower there in Wilson. I wouldn't expect for us to see any very heavy rainfall out of this today. You can see a little rain falling there in Clinton right now. It's likely to be patchy and light for the remainder of the day. This one is just continuing to move northward. Lots of heavy rain around Virginia Beach and on up into Virginia, but we had some very heavy rainfall sort of robbing the system, not allowing the rain to move into our viewing area. Now, Futurecast does show a wave at 5 o'clock from Goldsboro to Rocky Mount up toward Roanoke Rapids. It doesn't look like it would affect the triangle during the evening commute, but we might see that wave coming through, and that's really about all that's left on the models for the daylight hours today. It is cloudy and breezy. You can see here at the Legislative Building, the flags are flying, the trees are shaking around. It is 68 degrees right now, but it's dry. Our dew point is at 56. Our winds are gusting out of the northeast at about 24 miles per hour in Fayetteville. We're gusting to 19 in Goldsboro, 18 in Durham, and 21 in Rocky Mount. So pretty breezy out there. there right now, not enough to cause any real problems, but we'll continue really on through the evening to see winds gusting at about 20 to 25 miles per hour. Our high this afternoon, 72 in Raleigh and Durham and around 80 in Fayetteville. So temperatures without a whole lot of rain are going to creep up a little bit. Our normal high is 83. We'll be back to 82 Thursday and then almost to 90 on Friday. We don't quite get there, thankfully, but it does look like it's going to be a fairly nice weekend. A few isolated showers or thunderstorms on Sunday. Highs will be close to normal.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Long wait times. The North Carolina DMV released a list of average wait times. Which location in the Triangle tops the list for the longest wait this afternoon at 4?
Plus, social district interests. Seaboard Station could be Raleigh's next spot to sip and stroll, where that proposal stands at 5:30. Job scam complaints. A company under investigation for the job offers they're making at people. The company's connection to the Triangle and the job scam red flags you got to watch for.
Plus, Operation Santa. With just 100 days until Christmas, it is time to get your letters on the way to St. Nick. Where to mail your wish list. The Better Business Bureau is warning about a possible nationwide job scam with ties to Durham. 5 on your side's Ashley Rowe exposes the red flags to watch out for.
The BBB scam tracker has gotten at least 40 complaints about job offers from a company called SynBio Therapeutic. People say they're getting emails from SynBio Therapeutic about pharmaceutical sales rep jobs. The people getting these emails are told they need to take a $300 pharmaceutical sales certification course before they can be hired. Many suspect it's a scam. The BBB says they have opened a formal investigation into SynBio Therapeutic and found there's no record of the company with the State Board of Pharmacy or any other regulatory agency. SynBio's website lists a Durham address, but they don't have a physical office there.
We're not really sure it's a company, but it's definitely important to obviously just be on the lookout and know the difference between legitimate job offers and those that maybe are not as legitimate.
SynBio Therapeutic has not responded to the BBB or 5 on Your Side's request for comment. To protect yourself from a scam, be wary of any job offer that comes to you unexpectedly. Research the person who contacted you and the company. Be protective of your personal or banking information, and don't fall for jobs that seem too good to be true. Ashley Rowe, 5 on Your Side.
Amazon says that its fall Prime Day sale is set for October 7th and 8th, and this is shorter than the extended 4-day sale in July. Amazon is already offering early deals for Prime members starting today. Customers can save money on select electronic devices, including the Fire HD Kids Pro tablet. All right, so if you're counting, there are 100 days until Christmas. And somewhere, someone's shouting, right? Wrap your head around that for a minute. The United States Postal Service is kicking off Operation Santa for the 113th year. Each year, the program connects written letters with volunteer Santas or adopters to fulfill holiday wishes across the country. Volunteers can fulfill wishes from multiple people within a single house by adopting a family letter. Letter adoption opens on November 17th.
New campaign announced. After a short-lived Senate bid, former U.S. Representative Wiley Nickel has his sights set on a different office. What he's running for now.
And return to school. Weeks after a mass shooting at a Minnesota Catholic church, students are returning to the classroom. How they're remembering the 2 classmates that were killed. And we do have a look at your winning NCAA Education Lottery numbers. Good luck.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number 1 source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Former Congressman Wiley Nickel is launching a campaign to be Wake County's next district attorney. Nickel is trying to fill the seat being vacated by Democrat Lauren Freeman, who is not seeking re-election next year. WRAL state government reporter Paul Spey broke that story yesterday, and he is here to tell us what that means for this race.
Right. Well, it means that Nickel almost instantly becomes the biggest name in this race. None of the other Democrats have won a major election, and Nickel has won several. He represented Wake County in the North Carolina General Assembly before winning a congressional seat in 2022. He didn't seek re-election in Congress because state lawmakers redrew his district to give Republicans an advantage. Then earlier this year, Nickel dropped out of the U.S. Senate race after former Governor Roy Cooper launched his campaign for that seat. Now, today, we asked Nickel why he's interested in this local race. He said the Wake DA's office offers a unique opportunity because it's the only county that contains the state capital.
The Wake County District Attorney is very different from every other district attorney in the state. Not just handling, the criminal cases for our state's largest county, but also the political corruption cases and the government malfeasance cases.
The seat is open because longtime Wake DA Lauren Freeman is not seeking re-election. Democrats Melanie Shakita and Sharita Walton are also running for the position. And this morning, Shakita sent us a statement about Nichols' announcement this morning. She said she welcomes him to the race, even though she's never seen him in Wake County Superior Court. And she said the race will be about experience and who has stood up for victims of crime in the courtroom to make sure justice is served. Now, Shakita said she's the only one who's been doing that for 27 years. As for Walton, the other candidate, Freeman is actually supporting her in this race. We reached out to Walton's team, too. We're still waiting to hear back. For the latest on this race, check out our story on WRAL.com.
Very detailed information there. Thanks, Paul. This afternoon, officials in Johnston County will help voters get ready for the upcoming elections. A series of voter photo ID events get underway today. Workers from the County Board of Elections will issue IDs to voters who need them. And today's event will be at the Selma Library in Selma from 2 to 4 p.m. The next one is scheduled for Thursday at the Benson Library.
Georgia's Supreme Court will not consider District Attorney Fani Willis's appeal of her disqualification from the Georgia election interference case against Donald Trump and others. A grand jury in Atlanta indicted Trump and 18 others in August of 2023, accusing them of participating in a scheme to illegally try to overturn the 2020 election results in Georgia. Even if a new prosecutor wants to continue on the path charted by Willis, it is unlikely that Trump could be prosecuted now that he's the sitting president. But there are 14 other defendants who still face charges in the case. 3 people were killed in the latest U.S. strike against a Venezuelan boat in international waters. President Trump says it was carrying drugs, but no proof has been provided. It's the second strike in recent weeks, heightening an already tense relationship with Venezuela. The White House has labeled longtime leader Nicolas Maduro a, quote, narco-terror cartel. Maduro has called U.S. actions against boats an embarrassment to the international community.
Today, students and staff returned to class at Annunciation School in Minnesota. It's the first time since the deadly school shooting on campus. The shooter opened fire during mass the first week of school. 8-year-old Fletcher Merkel and 10-year-old Harper Moisky were killed, and more than 12 others were injured. Former Columbine High School survivor Frank DeAngelis is helping Annunciation students and families heal. He says he drew strength from both faith and counseling after his tragedy, and he hopes to share that wisdom with other victims.
Kids are not really aware and they're not feeling a whole lot right now, but that does not mean 2 years from now, 3 years from now, they may have some of this. And that's why it's providing the help, not only now, but down the road.
Frank says he hopes his lessons of reframing tragedy can help these students refocus on the good.
Happening now here in the WRAL Live Center, the Border Patrol agent who led immigration crackdown in L.A. has now arrived in Chicago. There's been a lot of discussion about where President Trump would plan to send and deploy troops next, and Chicago was on the list. He posted on X, this, of course, is Gregory Bovino. In a post, he says, well, Chicago, we have arrived. And this is the video and footage that he shared on social media today, letting everyone know about this. So President Donald Trump has promised for weeks that Chicago would see a surge in deportations and National Guard troops over the fierce of objections from local leaders as well as residents. So neither the focus nor the size of the Border Patrol operation was referenced in his message today. However, we know officials not also answering any questions in terms of if we are going to see that increase in the coming days and weeks. So, of course, this is something we will continue to follow.
Laura Levine, thank you. Dashing actor, Oscar-winning director, and environmentalist Robert Redford is dead. His publicist says he died this morning at his home in the mountains of Utah. He was 89. NBC's Dan Sheneman looks back at the life and legacy of the Hollywood icon.
As an actor, Robert Redford looked like a natural.
The thing I live for and always have lived for is creating art. So making films is the most important thing.
A native of California, his acting career began on the New York stage and on television before getting his chance on the big screen.
Why? Because I won't go walking barefoot in the park?
With the help of his leading man, good looks, his career took off in the 1960s.
Did you make a jump like that you didn't have to? I have to, and I'm not gonna.
When he teamed with Paul Newman in 1969's Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, he proved his movies could do big business at the box office. In the 1970s, Redford was one of Hollywood's biggest stars. He was attracted to complex stories and complicated characters. Many of his movies became cultural milestones.
Marvin, what do we do now?
I wouldn't quote you even as an anonymous source. I mean, you'd be on deep background.
Like many actors, Redford wanted to work behind the camera. Ordinary People was his first film as a director. The movie won the Oscar for Best Picture in 1980. Redford was named Best Director. Always passionate about the movie business, Redford wanted to give back to the industry. He created the Sundance Institute, named after his character, the Sundance Kid. The Institute advances the work of up-and-coming filmmakers and showcases independent films at the annual Sundance Film Festival in Utah.
The idea of putting something back into a business that's been good to you, or back into an industry that is a part of your life, seems right to me.
The actor was also an activist who championed the environment and worked to preserve southern Utah's landscape.
Somebody has to think about the future and what we're going to be leaving people behind.
And while his days as a heartthrob came to an end, Redford continued to take roles in films that challenged him as an actor. Robert Redford. He made some of the great films of his generation and worked to foster the next generation of great filmmaking.
That was Dan Shinneman with that story. Unfair and unhealthy. How social media comparisons and influencers are complicating people's relationship with food.
And big backslide when it comes to gender equality. Why a new report says the global gap is growing. Our team is working to bring you exclusive stories for coverage you'll find only on WRAL. Go to WRAL.com and search only.
There are many influencers on social media talking about what they eat to stay skinny, and frequently viewing this kind of content can cause people to develop an unhealthy relationship with food. According to the Cleveland Clinic, women are more likely to compare themselves to what they see on social media, and the result can be developing an eating disorder. That can happen because of societal pressure for women to be thinner and men feeling pressure to be more muscular.
Several studies have found a significant association between social media use and lots of different types of disordered eating patterns, including binge eating, purging, severe restriction, and orthorexia, which is this pathological fixation on clean or healthy eating.
And doctors recommend trying to spend some less time on social media, especially if it affects what we view as normal. Users can also unfollow accounts that tend to make them feel bad about their bodies or encourage these disorders eating behaviors.
A concerning new report by the United Nations warns the world is retreating from gender equality. According to the 2025 Gender Snapshot report, profound gaps persist. At current trends, more than 350 million women and girls could be living in extreme poverty in the next 5 years.
What we see from this data is that the world is actually backsliding when it comes to gender equality. It is taking quite significant steps back, and the cost is measured in lives, but also in rights and lost opportunities.
The report reveals that world leaders spend $2.7 trillion a year on weapons, yet fall short on the $420 billion price tag to advance and achieve gender equality and women's rights.
Remembering the impact, how a community is commemorating the devastation caused by Hurricane Floyd.
And the La Nina effect, how colder water off the coast of Peru is impacting our weather. This morning, the state unveiled a new historical marker in Princeville commemorating Hurricane Floyd's impact. Floyd made landfall 26 years ago today. The rapid rise of floodwaters caught many eastern counties off guard, trapping thousands in homes and cars. The town of Princeville was nearly destroyed by catastrophic flooding. The aftermath of Floyd led to major reforms in emergency response and evacuation planning in North Carolina.
State efforts to recover from Helene will soon ramp up again in western North Carolina. The North Carolina Division of Aviation is going to build a new bridge along Highway 64 near Bat Cave. It was one of the first bridges repaired in the aftermath of the storm, but it still needs to be replaced. The bridge is one of the only ways Bat Cave can connect with places like Chimney Rock and Hendersonville. In fact, WRAL is working on a new documentary to mark 1 year after Helene. It's called Helene, What We Lost, What We Found. It airs Thursday, September 25th at 7:30 on TV or wherever you stream WRAL.
A recent forecast from NOAA shows a 71% chance of La Nina developing in the fall. So what could that mean for us? Meteorologist Chris Michaels shows us in today's Ask the Meteorologist.
So NOAA's chances of a La Nina oddly specific. Between October and December, they put a 71% chance of it. December through February, they put a 54% chance of it. So let's just talk about what this even is. La Nina, what it refers to is the cooler than average waters off the coast of Peru in the eastern Pacific. So you might be asking, okay, well, that's the Pacific. Why do we care about it here? Well, these kinds of patterns, they alter the upper level winds that drive our weather systems. And usually in a La Nina, it leads to milder and drier weather. But with those weaker upper level winds, you may actually open up the door for some late season tropical development, something we'll watch over the course of the next few weeks. Drought may develop in parts of the east during the autumn. That's something that the Climate Prediction Center is watching for parts of Virginia and Maryland. And 64% of the time, a La Nina leads to lower than average snowfall in Raleigh. It leads to lower than average snowfall really across much of the eastern U.S. So that's just one of the key factors. Can't really go talking about a winter forecast in September, but these are all the large-scale patterns we keep an eye on in the weeks and months ahead.
Which moves us to our next weather maker, right? Like what he's tracking right there and directly affects how we are being, our situation here.
Although I noticed when he said lower than average snowfall, there got a big thumbs down over there from Guess who? You know, Elizabeth loves that snow.
Yes, it was nice to have a snow or two last winter. You know, it seems like it had been a long time. So yeah, back to that La Nina. It does usually not bring a whole lot of snow for us. Let's talk about this one right here. This is dragging some moisture into North Carolina. Most of the rain that we've seen so far today has been in our northeastern counties. It's been very light if you move any farther inland than that. But we may have some pockets of rain at times. I'm noticing some movement in this little cluster that's sitting offshore. Heaviest rain certainly will be trending far to the northeast, especially up into Virginia. But take a look at this. Let's start here just with a few sprinkles showing up. I mean, hardly anything. A little bit there in Wilson County, up around Durham County, down in Sampson County. But I mean, there's hardly anything falling out there. It's just been a sprinkle or two over the last few hours. The bulk of the rain is way up here into Virginia, and some of it very heavy, moving on shore here at Virginia Beach. Keep in mind where this is, and I'm going to switch the view to what we call water vapor. And so this is not showing where rain is. This shows where it's really dry in the atmosphere and where there's a lot of moisture. And look at this here. So obviously, at first, this lines up really nicely with where all that rain is. But now watch which way it's headed. I mean, all this time it's been headed up to the north, but finally it's starting to go around the low pressure system. Low pressure system is sitting right over us, and all the rain has been offshore. It's now starting to pull back to the west. So what that means is there could be some rain over the next 5 or 6 hours over our part of North Carolina, possibly in our viewing area. Watch what Futurecast does with it. Instead of keeping it up here along the Virginia line, it takes it down along the I-95 corridor. So we'll see if that happens. Possibly, but I do feel like from Rocky Mount and Durham northward, with the trajectory of that band of moisture, we could see some of that in our northern counties. That's really what we've been expecting all along, but the models have had a hard time sort of holding on to and figuring out what that little cluster was going to do. We still have a low risk for flooding in our northeastern counties and still not looking at a whole lot of rain, most likely anywhere between a half an inch to a quarter of an inch in our northern counties and practically nothing down to the south. So we'll see if that actually develops, but there are finally some hints there, at least on the water vapor, that there's something there that's starting to move back inland across North Carolina. We really didn't see very much of that all morning long. For tomorrow, we'll gradually start to see this low dissipating and moving on out, but we couldn't rule out a small sprinkle, a little light rain for tomorrow morning. It's a 30% chance. And then Thursday and Friday, we dry out and really warm up. Our temperature right now, upper 60s to around 70. We'll probably end up at 72 and then way up at 88 on Friday. It does look like a pleasant weekend. We have a 20 to 30% chance of showers and thunderstorms. And then Monday is officially the first day of fall on the calendar. It looks really pretty, mid-60s in the morning with a high of 80 degrees.
Let's hope it stays pretty. All right. Thanks, Elizabeth. Pink waves near the pier. We look at where the water is turning a rosish color and why.
And here's a look at the winning Powerball numbers: 14, 15, 32, 42, 49. The Powerball is 1 and the multiplier is 2. As we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines we're following today. The brothers accused of killing a Wake County deputy are expected to enter a plea deal this afternoon. Deputy Ned Bird was killed in the line of duty in 2022. Alder and Arturo Marin Sotelo are both charged with murder. The Wake County DA's office is not commenting on the details of the plea agreement, but the charge of murder carries a maximum penalty of life in prison.
The president of the company accused of not paying its employees was a no-show in court this morning. Kristen Picot was supposed to appear for misdemeanor charges related to worthless checks. Former employees of CJF America say they are owed thousands of dollars each for work on summer camps all over the state. Well, because Picot missed her court date, the judge could issue an order for her arrest.
Wake County school leaders will hear a presentation about AI in the classroom today. An Amazon representative will talk about how AI can help schools work more efficiently. Several other school systems in our area already have some type of AI policy. No decisions will be made today. The Wake County School Board has 2 more meetings scheduled.
Moore County Animal Services is celebrating a successful rabies vaccination clinic. On Saturday, they were able to provide 160 rabies vaccines for local pets. Moore County has seen several rabies cases this year, including a recent incident where a rabid fox attacked 2 people. Animal Services administers the vaccine year-round for just $10.
Pink waves off the California coast. So check this out. The water in Santa Monica is turning pink. But there's no reason to worry. Researchers from UCLA School of Engineering are doing experiments that turn the water around the pier pink. So they're using the dye to study and to better understand water movement and how it affects water quality in the area. The experiment poses no risk to people, vegetation, or wildlife.
All for the sake of science, right? Our pet of the day is a polite plot hound mix from Red Barn Rescue. Meet Chevron, or Chevy as they call him. That's what they refer to him there. Chevron has many fine attributes. His obvious beauty is one of them there. Chevy wants to please, enjoys his strolls, and is a great walking buddy. The volunteers think he's okay with male dogs too, but he is definitely a ladies' man, according to them. And if you're interested in Chevy, you can contact the Red Barn Rescue for that.
Or the redbarnrescue.com. Yes, protecting your pets. Hurricanes can trigger a spike in pet heartworm cases. Coming up on WRAL News at 4, a warning from veterinarians as North Carolina enters peak hurricane season.
NBC News Daily is next on WRAL with your next local news update in about 30 minutes.
You can get breaking news updates anytime with our WRAL News app. Have a great day.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.